So this one might be a long one. So much just happened for me right now. So much just happened for me right now. So for the past 2 days at least, I've been I've been I've been sad. I've been back to an emotional space of mourning the relationship. Um, to the point I even made like a little mixtape, a soundtrack of songs that have really reflected my emotional state. Excuse me. That really reflected my emotional state, both in the past and in the present. So a bit of a timeline of my feelings, of my emotional journey, and that's actually been a good thing because it's helped me tap into some emotions that just needed to be unlocked. So I would get into the music, start feeling what I would start feeling love, start feeling hurt, start feeling just all the things. And 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 please forgive me. I'm trying to gather my thoughts because I'm trying to keep everything because I need to document this because this. So I'm trying to remember what the moment was, what song it was, or um. Oh, I know. So the playlist. There's one song I want to put up there, and it's technically an R. Kelly song. He produced it, and he is featured on it. It's not on Tidal. It's on YouTube. So I listened to it, and like I really wanted to add it for a couple of reasons, like our artistic expression, because R. Kelly, and also because it fell in line with the timeline. It was an emotional fit. But then I think I really started thinking about the parallel between my abuser and that abuser. And earlier today, I posted about the parallels of sexual abuse. Like I can recognize some parallels. That's something I wrote on Facebook. Um, but somehow, I think I know. I was listening to "Where Is the Love" again. It was the next song on the. It was yeah. It was the next song on the playlist, and I got. It was like I was transported back to that moment when I heard it for the first time. Well, not. It wasn't the first time I had heard the song ever. When I had that moment of absolute certainty, but like it's like I was transported back to that moment of hearing it and having that moment of absolute certainty and like yelling at myself like this is going to end poorly. This is going to end poorly. and and I broke down and I cried. And I cried in a way I have not cried about this before. Because cried about I've I've cried about the love and the heartache. But I'm finally really seeing the exploitation and the abuse. And I've been saying, even in my very first post, I talked about, you know, this woman was 38 and I was 18, and I've still been looking at it in that perspective, like from when I was 18. I'm finally starting to see and feel this as the child that grew up with this woman. So if I have to accept the reality that this was an abusive situation, I have to accept the full spectrum of that. And the full spectrum of that is that she watched me grow up, and I was a child to her, and I was a child for her to take advantage of. I wasn't just an 18-year-old adult. I wasn't just a college freshman. I was also the grade schooler that went to the same school as her son. I was also one of the kids that would come over or have her kids over, or when my family would have like the big birthday block party and the whole church would come. Like, I know I talk about what my own inner experience was, and even what my spiritual interpretation was. But the reality of the situation, the fact of the situation, when I flip it from the virgin perspective to the child that I actually was to this woman, this is what and this is me speaking my lived experience. This is what emotional rape feels like to me. Like, and I've even thought about how I was in another relationship, and there were some emotional manipulation tactics that I didn't recognize as emotional abuse, because growing up, abuse is always tied to what's physical. If somebody is hitting you or doing something to your body, touching you, anything that is physical and unwanted or inappropriate, because little boys get conditioned to think that they should want sexual advances as early as like 10. So, because I never experienced that, and because emotional attachments and connections, they weren't in focus in my day growing up the way that they are now, which is why I feel like now I'm able to look at these things and say, oh my God, that's what that is, or that's what that was, because now I can look back and see that for me, I see the child that got exploited. And I am, oh my God. I am an exploited child because she watched me grow up. I was a manipulated teenage adult because I was 18 and she was 38. I was a raped virgin because I gave her my body as a gift of my love, and she took it as a piece of lust. I am the abandoned lover who was slowly left behind. I am the depressed person who would have given her my life and instead almost took it because of her. I don't even know how many that was, but that's a lot to be all at one time. If you don't hear from me for a while, it's because I took a break. Not a break from healing, but a break to process. Thank you for bearing witness.